Danielle is in Tampa, Florida. Hi, Danielle. How are you?
Hi, Mr. Ramsey. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
I'm in a position where I'm thinking about selling my house. My son's father and I live together, and it's not the best situation. Your Blinds.com advice actually was pretty spot on as far as our situation goes. I've connected with one of your ELPs, and I'm just really torn because I love my home and I love my neighborhood, but I just want to be able to pay my debt off and provide better for my son.
Okay. So you own the home with your boyfriend, or?
No, sir. It's just me.
You own it?
Yes.
Okay. When is he leaving?
It's a great question.
Well, I'll give you the answer. Tonight. I can hear it. No, I can hear it in your voice. You sound really afraid to me.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to talk to you outside, and he's actually standing next to me because he can't go inside. Sir,
Yeah.
I have about $16,000 worth of debt. It includes a car, a credit card, some medical debt from the birth of our son that I get no help with.
Yeah.
My home, your ELP said that I could potentially walk away with about $88,000.
Yeah.
So I could reasonably pay all that off. I could set my son up and myself up in a nice townhome or a reasonable townhome in a nice area, good schools. You know, I've thought all this out.
What is your income?
I just got a promotion at my job. I've been there about 10 years. I don't quite know what it works out to be, but it's $21 an hour. I believe it's like 44.
Okay. How old are you?
I'll be 32 this month, sir.
How old's your baby?
8 months.
Okay. I don't know if you need to sell your house or not. You may. That's possible. But that's not your problem today, is it?
No, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have family in the area?
Okay. I do. My mom passed away about 2 years ago, unfortunately. So I still have my dad and brothers. And
you have dad. You have a father and brothers in the area.
Yes, and my grandma and my aunt, who would have room for me and Charlie, my son.
Okay. You need to get in the car and go to your dad's house when you hang up the phone.
I can't do that, sir. I've tried that already.
Why can't you do that? Do I need to call the police for you?
No, sir. We've already gone through that.
Well, I'm about to go through it again.
Danielle, where are you, Danielle? Are you outside your house right now?
Yes, I am.
You are.
Okay. Do you have car keys?
Where's Where's your son?
In his father's arms.
Okay.
In front of my car.
All right. You need to, when you hang up, you need to call the police and you need to call your father. And you need to get you and your son away from this guy. Do you hear me? Do you understand? This is not going to work otherwise, honey. This is not a house problem and it's not a debt problem. You and your son are in danger. Do you understand me? Hello?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Where'd you go?
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Where are you? Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm here.
Did you hear what I said, or were you distracted?
Yes, I did, sir. No, I heard you.
Okay. So are you going to sit there in the middle of this sewage, or are you going to fix it?
I want to fix it. That's why I want to sell my home, and I just want to be done with everything.
Honey, we don't need to call a realtor. We need to get the boyfriend out of the house, and that's going to involve the police and or your father and your brothers. He needs to leave. It's your house. And you're afraid. You understand that this is wrong, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're not the crazy one. I'm talking to the sane one.
You know, a lot of times it feels like that.
Yeah, I know. All right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to put you on hold, and Kelly is going to make sure that law enforcement gets over there, okay?
No, sir, please.
No, baby doll. I'm not going to be, I'm not, listen, I love you and that baby. And we're gonna, do what?
Just needed to know if I should sell my house or not. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay, honey. You're in a
I
hole.
respect you, Mr. Ramsey. I'm sorry. I trust you.
Listen, easy, breathe. You're in a horrible situation, and you have to make the moves to get away from it. Okay? And part of the type of situation that you are in is that part of his psychological job is he has convinced you that you're not able to operate without him. And I'm convinced the only way you're ever going to be able to operate is without him. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You are worth being okay. It's worth being okay for your kid. It's worth being okay. It's your freaking house. He's trespassing. We're going to remove the trespasser. It has to happen. Okay? You have to get away from this guy. Anyone who calls a national radio show and is in this kind of distress tells me that there's serious stuff going on inside your walls. You understand?
Yes,
and then once he's clear, we're going to put you with one of our counselors free. I'm not going to charge you a dime, and we're going to walk with you, and then we can start making decisions about your finances. But you don't have a financial problem. You need a boyfriend-ectomy.
Yeah, I've been needing that.
And it's happening today, darling. It's happening today.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Today.
And Danielle, if you feel like you and your son need to be somewhere safe, then I would get out of the house as well. Removing him may not.
Well, no,
but I mean, like,
after he's gone, you can make this determination with
you may need to go
with
somewhere.
Local law enforcement. But get a restraining order. You can do whatever you need to do at that point. But you and the baby need to get out of there until he's gone, and then you need to get someone to remove him. And it's that simple. So that's what you have to do, and then you can begin to have a conversation in some form of sanity, because the situation you are in right now is insane. It's an insane situation. You're not insane, but the situation's crazy, girl.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hey, we love you. You hold on a second. Kelly's going to pick up, okay? And we're going to make sure you get taken care of. You weren't scheduled to be involved in the show yesterday, but you got involved behind the scenes a little bit.
Yeah.
For those of you that were not around yesterday for whatever reason, I don't usually tell you what yesterday is, but all that, but this is the time we're going to stop and do that. We had a young lady call in with Rachel and I on the air that became apparent during the call that she was a victim of domestic violence. I don't even like saying that way because it sounds so antiseptic. She was a victim of her boyfriend beating the crap out of her, is a better way of saying the truth. And we determined that. And then while we were on the call, we determined he was in the room that he had walked in and was not happy. And so it went from a financial question to a question of her safety and her child's safety and so forth on the air, live. It's pretty wicked, weird, and wild, but walked her through that a little bit. And John just happened to walk by the studio and stepped in, and I put her on hold, and he has done a lot of trauma and crisis intervention type counseling over the years, and so trained in that, but also experienced in that. So you got on the phone with her, and we were able to get the police over there very quickly, and the young man is sitting where he should be now in a cage, which is where people like that belong. And so I think they call that a jail, but I called it a cage.
Very similar.
Either one is
very similar.
Either one's fine with me, but they're both similar situation here. This is where this little guy needs to be. And so that was pretty wild discussion you were having in there off air.
Yeah, I noticed at one point I didn't know who was in there. You kind of zone out and try to lock in face-to-face, you lock eyes, but in those situations, you lock hearts with somebody. And then I noticed you'd come in there after a while. But, yeah, it was intense, mainly because it was live. It was happening live, and she was not – it wasn't philosophically unsafe. She was unsafe now. And somebody else had her kid. And then you've got a mom who needs to protect herself. But I'm not going to leave my baby unprotected. And now you've got a messy situation. And whenever I show up to something like that, I'm always looking at escalation trends. Is this thing slowing down? Are people separating and they just yelling at each other? Or is it moving up? And this one moved up real rapidly. And luckily, the police department there was super responsive, and they showed up, and I'm grateful to them. And at the end of the day, man, we're talking to a really brave young woman, brave new mom, and she's got a hard row ahead of her. But yeah, things got pretty dicey there for a minute.
Yeah,
and that's not us Hollywoodizing this thing. It got pretty dicey.
It was very real.
Yeah,
and he's a violent dude, and so the yeah, of course. So the end of the story is she's safe. Her family's around her, and of course we're gonna. We've plugged her in with financial counseling. She does have some crisis financial situation
Absolutely,
as well.
And we've got some resources there, some
but
domestic violence
really
resources.
was not even on the table for discussion yesterday.
Right.
So, but our team is rallying around her. We're plugging her in with counselors, not, of course, no charge, and we're just going to walk with her and make sure she gets her life changed in a different direction, because it sure was going down the toilet pretty fast there.
And we did. We connected her to some domestic violence resources there in Tampa too, so that she can have a local community that can be hands-on there.
So she's safe and good. For those of you that were listening, a lot of you have been, emailing us and worried and so forth, and so we thought we would give you guys a bit of an update. And it's odd. You and I were talking, I think it was last week on the air, about this correlation between extreme control over money issues and domestic violence.
Yep.
That there's a correlation between that, because there's this where a husband or a boyfriend, it will not let you pick the cereal at the grocery store. You can't go grocery shopping by yourself. You can't buy detergent. You can't do anything without his approval on every little nuanced thing, where there's that level of weird toxic control over a lady, a woman, with the money. It's a high statistical indicator that he's probably hitting her.
It's just about power, right? And I'll take that power wherever I can get it. Yeah.
It's about power and control, and boy, that was going on yesterday, and you could smell it in the air. So I put her on the air. It was, it didn't take a genius to figure out what was to figure out what I was dealing with, what we're going into there. But I think the thing that you can't get away from, on the positive side or the negative side of toxic behaviors, is that personal finance is 80% behavior. It's only 20% head knowledge. So the chances of you being in a relationship that are that dysfunctional and being wealthy, becoming wealthy in a dysfunctional setting, is just almost impossible.
Right.
Because these things don't live in one nice little compartment over here, and then not bleed over. Or not bad metaphor, but don't reach over into the other areas of your life.
Absolutely.
So I mean, you can't be a punching bag in one area of your life and then suddenly be prosperous and healthy and winning at your career and winning at your wealth building and that kind of thing. They just don't. It's not. We can't compartmentalize that tight.
Right. And one of the challenges with relational abuse of any kind is you accept that as a given. You accept that as, well, some days are good days. Occasionally he'll come in crying saying he's sorry and it's going to be okay. And so you start trying to solve that inner chaos at the margins. You start trying to think of, well, maybe I can get a better interest rate, or maybe I should trade my car in, or it's probably my job. And you distance yourself from this core nuclear reactor issue. That is, hey, you're not safe. Your baby's not safe. And this thing just escalates this way, right? So to anyone listening...
the decisions you make on the money on the fringe is to avoid the nuclear reactor at the center are never good decisions.
They're not. Because you're making them out of chaos, right?
Yeah, well, and you're making them in order to mask.
That's right.
And instead of dealing with the core issues. And so, Larry Burkett used to say, debt is not the problem, it's the symptom.
There you go.
And so it's a symptom of a behavior.
Well, I heard you say something yesterday through the window that I think is worth reiterating. you listened to her and you said, hey, hon, you are worth being safe. You're worth more than this. And so anybody listening who's in any sort of abusive situation, exhale and drop your shoulders for a second and look up in the rearview mirror if you're driving, or look in the mirror at your house. You're worth being safe.